We were talking about the big game at Anfield. It seems like a million years ago now. And a different world, actually, from the Lamb Ground in Tamworth with its unheated porter cabin for the Spurs players. I can't wait. I can't wait. The other side of that coin is Manchester City, their 7th game on the spin without a win. And Danny, you wanted to talk about the way they set up. They have got limited resources, incredible thing to say about a club like Manchester City. They've got injuries at the moment. But if I was to light the blue touch paper by saying I'm not sure that the selection they made was likely to get them much of a result at Anfield, would you disagree?
No. I did. Let's just firstly say I can't have more respect for Pep. I did a piece on Sunday talking about his amazing tenure here and the impact he's had on the English game. So
totally
say that first. But in this particular one-off game, I was talking on Saturday around the possible tactical changes or what he should and shouldn't do, and it seemed pretty obvious to me and many other people I spoke to about playing 3 in the middle of the park first and foremost. Let's deal with that, because Liverpool's midfield's dynamic. Now, he might say he did play 3 because Foden was dropping in on Gravenberch, but Foden's a forward player. So what I'm talking about is playing 3 midfielders in the middle of the park who can match 3 midfielders. And my feeling was that with the lack of Kovacic and Rodri and the lack of physique or physical prowess amongst Gundogan, Bernardo da Silva, Foden, those types, I thought it was perfect to maybe put Ake and leave Guardiola left, go Ake and maybe Diaz, and put Akanji in there, who's played in there and done it very, very well, to give them some power and some physicality. So he didn't do that. Just to move that forward, Darren did ask me about why you think he played a 4. Now, there are times I've played in a 4 against we've played 2 in the middle, which is a 4 because you got the 2 wide ones, but they've tucked in really narrow to make a 4v3. So when I saw the team, I thought, well, maybe he's thinking of playing really narrow, leaving the Liverpool fullback, getting them in narrow and trying to outnumber 4v3 in possession. That didn't happen either. The other thing I couldn't believe, really, when I saw that wasn't the plan, was that when you've watched Liverpool the last few weeks, if you think of the Southampton game, if you think even a couple of weeks back, Chelsea at Anfield, Arsenal away, one area Liverpool, and they've got the best defence, so take this with a pinch of salt, but one area maybe they've had a few little issues is in wide areas, coping with Tyler Dibling, coping with Saka, coping with Chelsea's wide players. City have got brilliant wide players. Pace. Yeah. I mean, you saw the difference in the game in terms of City's dominance in possession when those 2 wide boys came on. So whether it be Doku, whether it be Savinho, whether it be Grealish, surely 2 of the wide boys play. You play 3 in the middle to match Liverpool up, and you try and give Liverpool's fullbacks a problem. And the other thing is really, which I don't know, I can't sometimes think, because you don't see these lads train, and you don't see who's at it and who's not in training. So I always have to take that into consideration. Arguably one of the top 3 players in the Premier League for keeping hold of the ball in tight situations and never giving it away is Jack Grealish. So he might not fly past people like a Savinho or a Doku, but if you play Jack Grealish, you know when he gets the ball, he's either going to keep it or he's getting fouled. Yep. He doesn't give the ball away. And he's on the bench. So I'm looking at the team thinking, there's only one thing that's going to happen here. You're going to get run all over. And for 25 minutes, they got absolutely pummeled.
Well, they were lucky not to concede 5.
Game should have been over. And I've never, ever seen... Well, I say never, ever. I can't remember a game where Man City have set up and Pep's been in charge where you kind of see them so timid in an attacking sense. And not good defensively either. It was just, didn't seem any logic around the way. I mean, he'd probably sit here and tell me his logic and I'd be going, okay, I get it, but I can't see it. I couldn't see it.
Do you think in January they buy maybe Zubimendi, maybe Adam Wharton, maybe Edison at Atalanta? They're 3 players that they've scouted so far, and there would obviously be others, but it seems to me as though that midfield is crying out for reinforcements.
I think if he does bring someone in, it'll be someone with more physicality than those players you said.
Because Danny, that was the before we go to the break, that was the thing that struck me. The Liverpool's team, and some of this is biased because they're doing so well. They just look so much physically more powerful than Manchester City, and you couldn't say that in the past. And it would have been worth playing Akanji in midfield just just as you say, just to give them somebody to run into. Let Liverpool's players run into him,
But can I just maybe contend with that with both of you? I mean, Gravenberch wasn't seen as the enforcer. I mean, he's playing a number 6 role, isn't he? But he wasn't seen at the start of the season as the man that could do that. Zubimendi at Real Sociedad came on for Rodri in the European Championship final for Spain, and so and he doesn't have that much physicality about him. And I remember being actually at the match and people thinking, because Rodri had gone off and because Zubimendi had come on, maybe there was a drop in quality.
Yeah, but let me just quickly answer that. So when you look at Spain, I mean, playing alongside Rodri was Ruiz, who's a 6'2", brilliant athlete, and complementing Zubimendi or Rodri, and he was one of the best midfielders. They got flying pace wide. They've got an athletic team. The fullbacks are both athletic. So if you look at Liverpool's midfield, the only one who you would say, so when you talk about Gravenberch, although he's not, in brackets, a defensive midfielder, he's quick and he's tall and he gets about the pitch.
Yeah.
Curtis Jones' numbers for running are always either very 1 or 2 in the team. Super engine, gets about, forward, back, box to box. Szoboszlai is as good an athlete as you're ever going to find. McAllister is the only one. So Bernardo Silva has looked one of the best players we've seen in the Premier League at times, playing in a midfield with other players who complement his style. And you don't have to be 6'2" to be dynamic, but Gundogan and Bernardo Silva on their own, at the moment, against that Liverpool 3, you're struggling.
And even Rico Lewis is clearly a very talented footballer. When you can see Liverpool's midfield looking at him and thinking, all right, we can do this.
Well, he's not a central midfielder, Rico Lewis.
He is not. I mean, look, needs must sometimes, and inventiveness and all the rest of it. But that just was a very, very... I thought they could have made a better selection in Manchester City. They probably wouldn't have beaten Liverpool anyway. Let's be truthful. The form Liverpool are in.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.